Beneath this dense green canopy of tall, stately treetops, the sun, searching for a place to shed its light, caresses the leaves and the forest floor below. Birds sing, monkeys cackle, wings flap. Something somewhere hisses, leaves rustle, and crystal streams murmur as they meander beneath the canopy. Everything in harmony. That is the symphony of the tropical rainforest. They are nature's own tropical greenhouses. Covering a mere 6% of the Earth's surface, rainforests are home to more than half of the world's plant and animal species. Additionally, the tropical rainforest, the kind found here in the Caribbean, is the Earth's oldest living ecosystem. Two basic conditions are needed for formation and existence of tropical rainforests: warm temperatures and plenty of rainfall. The tropical rainforest has three layers: the canopy, the understory, and the forest floor. The top layer, the canopy, is made of the treetops, which can grow to well over 200 feet high. Up here in the canopy, one can easily find animals such as apes, monkeys, snakes, and tropical birds. Smaller animals like anteaters dwell in the understory layer. Here can be found many small trees and shrubs. Down on the forest floor, the soil is very poor, since it is only the top few inches of the soil that is fertile. The richness of this thin top layer results from the decomposing plants and other biological activity taking place between microorganisms. However, the subsoil is simply infertile clay. Mainly insects live in this layer, though it is quite common to see large mammals such as jaguars prowling about on the forest floor. At daytime, the rainforest can be amazingly peaceful and quiet. So quiet that you can actually hear a single leaf falling. During the day, the rainforest remains a den of tranquility. 2/3 of the world's plant species can be found in the tropical rainforests. The lush greenery of Guyana's Iwakrama forest makes it only one of 4 last remaining pristine forests of the world. Over 1,500 species of flora have been identified in this forest, which covers a vast expanse of 1 million acres.
Tropical savannas refer to captivating pockets of trees and other natural botanical life within large expanses of grasses and shrubs. The wide range of vegetation in these savannas supports high levels of biodiversity. While they are mostly located on plains, they can also be found on rolling hills and valleys. Savannas occur in tropical regions owing to soil conditions, climate, and human activities like fires or agriculture, all of which limit primary productivity. Primary productivity refers to the production of organic substances, including plant tissue, through photosynthesis. In tropical savannas, the primary productivity is either too low to support respiration associated with the woody tissues of trees, so that woody structures are unable to thrive or are destroyed. The Repo savannas of Trinidad are an example of edaphic savannas in that they develop primarily as a result of characteristics of the soil and not because of climatic conditions.
The Repo savannas is a natural savanna, and it occurs in the area because of soil conditions. Because of the soil conditions, woody vegetation just cannot grow in these areas. It is waterlogged during the wet season and is completely dried out during the dry season. So the vegetation just cannot get enough water, and sometimes it just gets too much water.
Primary productivity is therefore extremely low and cannot support the respiration required by larger plants. As a result, plants remain small and stunted, except where there are pockets of fertile soil. The Rupununi savannas of Guyana, on the other hand, are an example of climactic savannas. The rainfall in these areas is seasonal, so primary productivity is very restricted for at least half of the year. The vegetation needs to cope with either drought or periods of water logging. Ponds are therefore a common feature of the Rupununi savannas. These ponds generally dry up in the dry season, although some have water all year round.
Savannas are very important from the standpoint that they're between the Kanaku Mountains and the Pacaraimo Mountains. The wetlands also are contiguous. In fact, they're part of the savannas because seasonally the savannas will be flooded. And the wetlands themselves are very important in that it's part of the drainage system, both into the Rio Branco system in Brazil, as well as into the Essequibo system in Guyana.
A broad variety of plants have adapted to wet and dry conditions and exist in and around the ponds. However, woody plants such as deciduous trees can still dominate if there are no fires in the climactic savannas. But grasses, herbs and sedges usually dominate because fires do occur periodically and destroy the woody vegetation. In other parts of the world, such as the East African savannas, animal grazing serves the same function as fires in removing primary productivity and destroying the woody vegetation. Fires may occur naturally as a result of lightning strikes during thunderstorms. However, in certain parts of the Caribbean, human activities such as slash and burn agriculture and unregulated burning for clearing are thought to be the main source of fires. Savannas therefore tend to increase at the expense of dry deciduous forest in the presence of humans. It is thought the dry deciduous forest was far more extensive in the neotropics during and at the end of the last ice age.
The Caribbean boasts of some of the most diverse swamps in the world. Mangrove swamps, a major community of living, thriving organisms, line the hundreds of miles of twisting rivers and creeks along our coast. This is magnificent canoe country. Swamps are a type of wetland dominated by woody plants. There are two main classes of swamp: forested swamps and shrub swamps. Shrub swamps are the type of swamps found here in the Caribbean and feature mostly shrub vegetation such as dogwood and mangrove. They are found along slow-moving streams and along coastal areas in tropical and subtropical regions of the world. Mangrove swamps are defined by salt-tolerant trees and shrubs which can tolerate the harsh conditions of the brackish waters and salty tidal waves.
Here in the swamp, many people see the water as being dirty or smelly. The color in water here in the swamp is actually linked to a chemical called tannic acid that's in the leaves of the mangrove trees. So when these leaves fall off and they decompose, tannic acid is released and it colors the water brown.
The smell associated with mangrove swamps is hydrogen sulfide gas. This is produced by the decomposing bacteria living in the oxygen-poor sediments in swamps. Hydrogen sulfide has a characteristic rotten egg smell.
The hanging roots of the red mangrove act as a sediment trap. It works basically like a sieve. When we get sediments washed down, like in heavy rains, those become trapped in the mangrove roots, and basically the sediment accumulates right there in that base. As more sediment accumulates, more trees fall off, sticking to the new sediment, and the land slowly increases. The land area in the coastal environment slowly increases. Mangrove swamps are definitely a natural wonder of the Caribbean. The link between mangrove swamps, seagrass beds, and coral reefs is so vital and precious to the entire marine ecosystem that without mangroves, the reefs would collapse, these seagrass beds would collapse. There would be no ocean life without mangrove swamps, supplying nutrients and supplying nursery grounds for these marine organisms to grow up, to spend the vulnerable part of their young lives in a protected place like a swamp. It's a true natural wonder. It's a place, a safe habitat where migratory birds can land to escape the hunters.
Mangrove trees dominate Caribbean wetlands because they can survive in both salt and fresh water. They develop in protected areas like bays, lagoons, or estuaries. Red mangrove, black mangrove, and white mangrove are the three types of mangroves typically found in the tropics. The red mangrove is easily recognized by its unique arching roots. Black mangroves, which grow more inland, have roots that project upward, supplying plants in submerged soils with air. Unlike the other two, white mangroves have no exceptional root structures. As the mangrove root system grows, it becomes more tangled, extensive, and close to impenetrable. It acts like a sieve, with bits of seaweed, dead organisms, leaves, practically anything that can be carried by water, collects and gets trapped. Flushed by the ebb and flow of the tide, mangrove swamps are constantly refueled with nutrients carried by freshwater runoff from the land. This shifting world of mud and sand is home to a bursting population of creatures, some of them rare and endangered.